Okay. My hair is all over the place. Hey guys, welcome back to the Sunday morning live stream. I did not schedule it, and I only just started organizing it, and I was like, oh, I haven't scheduled it. So yeah, I don't know if that's going to affect anything. People who watch it regularly, they might drop in any Sunday morning. That's the but I have been working on some stuff. Well, a little bit, not really anything major. There we go. Share entire screen. Actually, you know what? Whoops. Don't do that. I need to put the chat over here. Yeah, very disorganized this morning. It's one of those things I just forgot about it. I had a very big Saturday. I went to Malala yesterday morning to go watch a mate put a car on track and watched how all that unfolded. That was really cool. And then I went and voted in the South Australian state election. And Labor won that, for those who keep a rats. And then I went straight from voting to Tailem Bend and watched Cameron Quinn. Well, I basically hung out with Cameron Quinn and Lockie Newell and talked racing. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, that was my day. And then I got home and then I was just worn out. But I probably should be making sure I get those things sorted. Making sure I'm getting these streams scheduled when I know I'm going to be busy. But it was sort of haphazard. I didn't really know what my plan was going to be. And then during the week, one of my workmates was like, "Oh, there's going to be the election this weekend." And I'm like, "Oh, great, more stuff to cram into the weekend." So yeah, just in between Malala and the Bend, I stopped, got home, got my little piece of card, and then went and stood in line for half an hour, however long it was. So yeah, all right, now let's look at some stuff. I won't be going very long for this one because it's not tremendously laggy computer. That'll be nice. All right, I'm just working on the points for each driver because actually some of the Larry Perkins points are different on I think it was on Speed Cafe, are different to what I've got on Speed Cafe compared to what I've calculated from the Wikipedia page on here. Like it tells you what the point system is, but I guess there's points for fastest lap or something because it's not adding up the same. Either that or I'm just not doing it properly. But it could just be that the Speed Cafe weren't calculating it properly. Anyway, I'm just gonna be chilling and doing this. There's not really a whole lot to report on. Actually, what do I got? I got a couple notes that I wanted to talk about. There was a couple of things. One of them was there was this article about, I don't know where it was. It was on Speed Cafe or it was on. It's when they announced. Was it Golding in the 33? In was it whatever category it is. Is this it? Because there's some guys in the Mustang Cup, and then I think Aaron Cameron or someone's doing GT4 as well. Yeah, here we go. So Aaron Cameron is going to be racing the number 33 entry, and he said, "Oh, this is the special number for GRM," but it's not true. The special number's 34. That's the one they've had forever. So if I find that wherever it may be, Former teams. Gary Rogers. I think it was 32 in 1996. But I don't know. Maybe JRM ran 33 in Super Tours or Oscar or something when they did before. They did a few other things before they came to Supercars in 1996. But they ran 32, I think. Was it 96 or maybe it was 97 as well? But I think it might have just been the first year they had them at 32. But yeah, I guess my question is, what number is James Golding if Aaron Cameron's in the 33? So I'm thinking Golding might be in the 34 if they have a choice. The Mustang Cup looks like it'll be interesting. There's 32 on Stevie Richards, 34 for 97. So that might have been the number that they wanted. And what was interesting was having number 134 for Garth Tander in 98. And then you had 34 for ages. And there was 35 was the other number for a long time. And then in 2003, they had the 33 for Jamie Whincup. And then 33 and 34 since. And that was the end of that. And in Super 2, they had 44 and 99 in the years that they had those. Like, GRM got fully into it in 2016, which was interesting. That they had the VFs there, and then they built a whole new bunch of VFs. Anyway, okay, so that was sort of my thing. That was like, oh, is that actually true? Is that actually the special number? But I think you have to look at the previous categories that they raced in. So can I look at Gary Rogers Motorsport? I'm going to duplicate this because I might need this later. It's going to be a short stream because I have to record stuff for my collab gaming channel, Same Industries at 11. So I want to stop at like 10 or 10:30 or something. Gary Rogers Motorsport. There we go. Okay, so win the Australian Touring Car Championship Sports Sedans. Big effort in 81. What number was he? He won a round at Sandown. 4th in the championship. And what's the point system? Top 14 place getters. That's interesting. So not a great time for him, I guess. Interesting. John Briggs was second in that one. That's cool. Few names. So John Briggs, Phil Ward has popped up several times. Gary Rogers, Alan Grice. I think I've heard of Clem Smith. Bob Jane. Hello, mate. Damo here. Finally had the chance to join live, but I watched a few of your previous streams organised with your data points. Super impressive. Thanks, man. Yeah, you guys are posting shorts. I was catching up on my all the supercars content to get the brain juices flowing today, and you haven't done like a full show. You're just doing all the shorts now. I like the long form stuff. So yeah, thanks for joining, dude. Yeah, I'm just going through a few. What I'm actually doing right now is I've got my data here about how everyone's championship is going. A little exercise on YouTube. Yeah, everyone's having a little dabble in shorts and seeing how that goes. I think it's just because I don't like making them because it's too much hassle to do it. I like making like a little 10-minute short or 10-minute like just a short video rather than but I don't know. I do like watching shorts, so I think it's just mainly I'm lazy. Yeah, I saw this thing that said that Brody Kostecki was dominant at Sydney or has been dominant this year, but he wasn't, except he had that contact with Bates, got the 5 seconds for his trouble. Held up in the pits by Randall, maybe could have won that second race, and 15 seconds for hitting Cameron, which I think he was running 5th or something at the time. So that's not dominance. So people, I think there's just all of a sudden there's a lot of excitement that all like, oh, Brody won that last round, that means he's going to win the championship. But he may not. He may not. There's plenty going on. BRT need to pull their pants up and actually do a good job, capitalize on their speed. And Brock Feeney's going to be forever up there anyway. He's always got the speed to be running up the front. So, I think I watched. I've watched a bit of the Motorsport 360 show. The first one was fine. I like Paul Murray. And Scafey contradicted himself. He liked one thing in Formula One, but he didn't like it in supercars. And then I had the one that came out yesterday on in the background and didn't hear anything that that I thought was going to be a problem. So I don't really have anything more to say about that. I do like the show. I do like just the chat shows to listen to. And it doesn't feel like there's like a lot of controversy. That's when I just like the chat. Long way to go, but it's good to see TJR at the pointy end. BRT drivers need to tune up. Cameron needs to chill. Yeah, Cameron, I think he was last in points at Albert Park. But even Golding lost out in some results, and both of them have been qualifying up there, apart from a bit of a stinker in the second one for Jimmy Golding. But what's that one now? They crash in the third race, so they've got the speed. They just need to relax, and they need to bank points. They can't be like trying to win the championship in the second round. And I think my regular guy, Bootleg, he said that Aaron Cameron, he doesn't have like the race pace. So he's good at quali, and then in the race he just starts dropping back. And so that's going to be a bit of an issue. He needs to fix that, and he needs to just bank points. If you've got someone hassling you, maybe try and get out of the way. We like to see good racing, but we want to see people have a good time rather than constantly dropping down the order, which is what he's been doing throughout this year. Racecraft is a big thing. It's difficult to understand it when you're watching the racing going on. You're watching it and you're going, oh, they're battling, they're trying to get in front of one another, but then there's going to be someone behind because they're holding each other up basically by fighting. Someone else comes from behind, and then you've lost another spot by fighting more people rather than just letting the guy who was putting the move on go and then getting settled and then having another crack later. It's a difficult thing, but Aaron Cameron has been on the wrong side of issues since the third race at Sydney. I don't know what happened in the second race, but you don't go from 5th to 16th without there being an issue. So I'm not sure what happened there. I might have to watch a clip or something. Unfortunately, we'll not be able to watch a clip on stream because apparently people in New Zealand get pinged. Or they aren't able to watch it. So I don't want to be doing that for them. Yeah. What else? Oh, that's right. I wanted to see what number Gary Rogers was. What was their special number? So the Speed Cafe making up crap. GT Championship in 82. No, there's a bit of a dead end there. So it's 34. I've learned some of that stuff, copyright infringement as well with supercars. Yeah, there's a guy posting full races. He's called what's he called? Motorsport something. And he's posting full races from um I think he posted a video that was like half an hour after Supercars posted it. And so I'm assuming he's got copyright infringements on everything because whenever I do it, I think I did it for Darwin last year. I was watching a bit of that, and then it was just the highlights, and I got pinged for that. So I thought, oh, okay, so don't do 2025 stuff then. But I don't know if it's like every round. I just thought, well, sting me once, then I'm gonna go further back until I find a time period that's acceptable. Um, it must be 34 that Gary Rogers has. So this 33 thing, I get like McLaughlin had it, and that was and Lee Holdsworth, but I don't think 33 was the big deal. I think 34 was it. Highlights should be okay, like movie trailers. Yeah, 34 is a big one for them. Yeah, well, it's just this article on Speed Cafe where Aaron Cameron reckons the 33 is a big deal, but I don't think 33 is their big number. I think 34 is it because it's Gary's number. Like with Dick Johnson Racing, they got 17 and 38, and those are special numbers that Dick Johnson actually raced. When it's a namesake team, the ones that the guy raced is obviously going to be more important. But you might have another race number that became significant in its own right. I'm working on a clip that I haven't actually worked on in a little while, but this week I was working on a bit about Perkins Engineering. They had number 8 and number 11. So Russell Ingall had number 8, Larry Perkins had number 11. And then when they switched to Jack Daniels, actually in 2005, they had number 24 in the mix as well. And in 2006, when they switched to Jack Daniels, they had number 7 and number 11. So they didn't have number 8 anymore. So that was interesting. And I think that was just a sponsorship thing. But for some reason, I think it was the Rex, the way they used to work is the numbers had to be attached to the rec, but they changed it at some stage later in the decade where it didn't matter anymore. You could just say, hey, we want to run this number, and then Supercars can approve it, and that's all it's about. Like how Matt Stone Racing changed their numbers, and all they had to do was have a quick chat with Brad Jones and say, hey, is this okay if we change our numbers? Because they wanted to use number 4. And I think number 10 was available, so they could use that. Although apparently because they now changed it to the team's racing charters, which makes me wonder if they have to draw up a whole new piece of paper when they changed all that. Or maybe they just said that all recs are team charters. That apparently Thomas Randall, the 55 TRC is Rod Nash's long running rec that he's had for a long time. There was actually a cool article on V8 Sleuth talking about Team Brock in 2002 and 2003, where I think they said it was Rod Nash, Peter Brock, and who's the engineer? Who's the legendary engineer? God, what's his name? I'm gonna look that up. V8 Sleuth. New chief for Motorsport Australia. Good for them. Where is it? There. How do I get out of this? Oh, there we go. Ron Harrop. Um, so they were all together into the 2002 Team Brock car, which was just slow as hell and didn't get any good results, and was previously Rod Nash's car, which his car wasn't that competitive before then either. I think that was if because Rod Nash, Tony Longhurst drove in that car, I think, in 2001, and then he went to HRT and won Bathurst with Scafie. But or maybe that wasn't John Faulkner. It must have been Nash. Yeah, because the previous year McConville drove, I think, in 2000. Well, it wasn't a competitive car, and so I think they must have had disputes over the car not being competitive. And then they all parted ways, and so the Team Brock name went to PWR with their new Holden agreement with Holden Motorsport, and signed Jason Bright, and went on to get podiums and challenge for top 5 of the championship in 2003, and that was called Team Brock. But obviously this is a different Team Brock, and so that's sort of cool. And this is the car that was raced at Bathurst with Peter Brock in 2002. So it's sort of interesting what's going on there. I think Peter Brock sometimes got involved with projects that weren't going to be very successful. Oh, and I saw Ryan's story on Lucky Dogs. That's a really good podcast, that one. Where Ryan's story is always good to listen to, because he just sort of he tells it exactly the way that it needs to be said, but he's open to talking about heaps of stuff. I do wonder if some of the things that he said on Apex Hunters he chose not to say on Lucky Dogs, like maybe by accident, when if I've already said that, then that's okay, or whatever it was. But anytime Ryan's on Ryan War Control was good on Lucky Dogs as well. But Ryan's story is great to listen to, especially as he's a fellow South Australian. And I actually I met him briefly on the street as well. The doctor is a great interview every time. 100%. So I'll stop rattling and start doing my homework like I was trying to do. And then I realized it was getting close to. I think my coffee was ready to be made, so I got my coffee. Right. How do I? Okay. There's a thing somewhere. Where is it? That's that one done. This is where it is. And so I don't have the actual point score for all the drives. So hang on. So Aaron Cameron, 12th at the end of Sydney. I wish I actually had this all sorted before, but I did not. It's been a little bit busy. Where else am I? Ryan Wood 6, which I think I've already done that. And then I think we've got, is it 2.5 weeks until Taupo? So it's going to be a long break. When was Very Good Interview seemed to open up a lot more to the Lucky Dogs guys with information we haven't heard before. I don't know if I think just some of the stuff he hadn't been on a podcast in a while. Because he was on Apex Hunters at the start of last year, and so he talked about signing Brody and signing Todd Hazelwood and keeping Tony D'Alberto, and then they talked about Bathurst 2019 and what happened, and what else? Something else. Just hate the way he talks about 2019 Bathurst. Try to act like it's not a big deal. Yeah, well, it was a big deal. It's like it's the asterisk Bathurst. I think that one, because that one you can't. You gotta be like, oh, Scott McLaughlin won Bathurst. And it's so hard not to sort of say that he didn't deserve it because he did. He didn't really do anything wrong himself. It's just what happened with Fabian was such a massive screw up that it ruined the race for a lot of people. Um, it's not what we want to see. Uh, um, I think there was that one, and then there was something else. Blatant cheating. Yeah, pretty much. Um, I don't think because he said that the whole time he was worried. He was dealing with the engine issues and trying to make the engines last the whole 161 laps. And so by the time like the people who were supposed to be keeping track of that stuff of what was happening in the race weren't because they were looking at the engine stuff as well. And so by the time he realized that Fabian was holding up the whole field, it was sort of too late. It had all or the damage had been done. And yeah, it was that was a bad one. Um, he said something else, I think, but he said like a lot of stuff in the Apex one. So it'd be harsh for like it was planned but executed poorly by Fabs. Yeah, I don't know who to really blame in that one. I think Fabian was just doing what he was told. Back to pack too far, and that's the issue. Yeah, yeah. It's just what did they say? They said that there was the debris, but they didn't say where, and so he was instructed to drive slowly. And so whatever happened there, that was a disaster, and it made GGR Team Penske look bad. And then the penalty that they got for the qualifying engine on Scott McLaughlin's car made them look even worse. So it's sort of like, and they obviously did a brilliant job with the Mustang as well. But it was just like all that stuff went down, and it made the whole team look bad. It's going down Conroe with a clear view of the track and acting like you can't see where it is. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. But I suppose it depends how big the debris is, right? Like you don't know what's happened. Somebody smacked into the wall and scattered pieces of car everywhere, and you could run over something and get a pop tire. Or is it just like maybe it's a bolt that's come off or something? It might be hard to see some of that stuff. So, but we knew from the race that it was the Walkinshaw wild card that had just gone off at Murray's Corner. So Debris was a code word. Yeah, conspiracies. The issue is how can you know there's debris somewhere but not know where for a good 30, 40 seconds? Yeah. Well, maybe in the DJR pits they were running around. Oh, you know what? Can we watch that race? I reckon I can. Let's find that bit. Uh, 2019 Bathurst. Debris. Um, is this one? I guess. That. And it was weird. So yeah, it made people think that there was something up with that because no one says Debris. That's not a word. Mm. It's as loud as I can make it. Is this before the crash? It's just the end of the race. It's after. Oh, yeah, well, it's got 25 minutes of it. The last Holstein, yeah. Well, okay, let's find. Yeah, well, that's what I've written. Well, let's just move that out of the way. I just don't know where the actual bit is because it says controversy and drama, but it doesn't show it. I think I'll just find the actual full race and just go to that bit. They not they don't have the full race on YouTube, do they? That's gonna be a bit annoying. I was hoping maybe they had it. I think it's on. They've got like a whole thing for Bathurst, haven't they? Full race replays. There we go. Bathurst Super Archive. What's that? 97. They've only got up to 2015 apparently. Okay, well then let's Bathurst. I'll just see this bit. See what.
We've managed to find the radio from that moment. Let's take a listen.
Hey mate, there's going to be another safety car soon. What can I do? Safety car board, right? Safety car board, right? Slow down. Bruce. Double stack. Opposite flat. Then we stay out, mate. Goes off in the last corner. 27 to go. Maybe it's going stupidly slow. Maybe it's going stupidly slow. 20-second double stack. Caution, I don't know where the incident is. I don't know where the incident is. I don't know where the incident is. Slow down. It's extreme caution. I think it's on the mountain somewhere. Slow down. Extreme caution. Yeah, maybe it's just going to be on his left. So stupidly slow. Extreme caution. They still have not told.
You don't hear anything that Fabian's saying.
Okay, maybe it needs a penalty as well. It was shocking.
Yeah, because I wonder, like, for the pit team, they were darting around dealing with this engine stuff, but you don't hear what Fabian has to say about it. So I don't know. The Murphy vid, I think, covers it. All right, well, we'll watch that then.
Motorsport now, and the gift that really just keeps on giving. The great race, the Bathurst 1000 was run on Sunday. I'm still fizzing. Kiwi Scott McLaughlin in his Ford Mustang, edging out Shane Van Gisbergen, claiming his first win at Mount Panorama. But as the 26-year-old was enjoying the spoils of victory, attention turned to his DJR Penske stablemate, Fabian Coulthard. Yeah, his go slow approach late in the race under safety car has been called.
My tinfoil hat.
Was there an overheating issue, or was he simply doing what he had to do to give Scott McLaughlin a leg up? With more on this,
Scotty didn't need a leg up.
And we welcome in
He was leading like the whole race.
Oh, yes, indeed. He hates talking about himself, so let me do it. Four-time Bathurst winner Greg Murphy, and the last guy prior to Scotty McLaughlin to win Bathurst, other than Stephen Richards with Craig Lowndes, am I right, as the co-driver?
Yeah, effectively, yes, Sammy. Yeah, we've got to remember Steve Richards still got a New Zealand passport, so we should be claiming him.
Oh, absolutely, mate. So just quickly before we move on to something really important, how did you find the whole weekend?
It was full on. It always is. The weekend is enormous.
Hoping for him so hard. Scotty would have won anyway. Yeah, that's what I think. Watching the whole race, it seemed like so pointless for them to try to do something like that if that was what they were doing. It was just a great crying shame that it wasn't just a raw fight like it should have been.
It's a crazy old week, mate. Now, okay, so there's been a situation which is kind of, in some ways, marred Scott McLaughlin's win. I mean, I want to show this vision here. Alexander Rossi hits we've got that vision here. Here it goes. Alexander Rossi hits the fence on lap 1-3-5. Now, this brings out
Cars behind him had a fuel advantage.
in front at the time. Scotty McLaughlin just behind him. Fabs is behind them.
You got to remember that race, they didn't have a safety car until lap 100 as well. Then they had like 8 safety cars in this stretch. Hazelwood, Rossi, Di Pasquale.
Made the situation what the situation clearly was, and there's a bit of gamesmanship going on here. So you could see before that Fabian was only a second or so behind Scott, and
At this point, it's like 13 seconds.
yeah, and he's growing at a great rate.
Yeah.
So this is really difficult situation, and clearly there's some radio conversation that would make it sound like Fabian, take it easy, be very
Too far to the end without another pit by about 2-3 laps. Oh yeah.
Well, let me ask you, where was that conversation?
Well, that was being put into the code that was being talked between the teams.
So not over the comms.
He knew that he had a problem, and I was warned about that.
And DJR had engine issues as well. Such a piss take wise. That pissing me off this long after the fact. It's a controversial thing. Like, we could be talking about this forever.
If it changed the outcome of who would have won the race or not, I think that's going to be a conjecture for quite a long time, and it would take a lot of analysing through all the data that's available that the teams have got through supercars to completely determine that. I don't think it takes away from Scott's win, to be honest.
Not at all. Now, not only you and the pits hearing all that additional information, you listen to the commentary at the same time.
Yep.
Now, they were saying it was initially they thought it was due to double stacking or the risk of that while Fabs was holding back. So are you telling me when you first heard that, you're like, nonsense? That
Definitely, it was because of the double stacking.
okay, yeah.
For sure. They don't want to have that car sitting there with everybody else going out through it. But,
Well, they needed a 20-second gap anyway, so he's going to sit there and then be ready to go when Scotty moved forward. So you're going to lose that time anyway. You're just deciding when, and instead getting yourself disqualified from the race.
Absolutely. I'm surprised we didn't see it, but if I was Andre, I would have been on the back
Such
of
a
the car.
such a bad move.
Absolutely.
If that's what it was, not just a straight stuff up.
Yeah, I believe so.
I think I've changed then.
No, you haven't, Dave. Look, what guys have you spoken to? Did you speak to Fabs? Did you speak to Andre? I mean, what were their reactions? So let's start with like the likes of Andre, the guys behind Fabs. What were their thoughts?
Yeah, listen, everyone was very frustrated. In that situation, I've been in that situation. I've been in a situation where I've actually realised the double stacking scenario, and you back off when you know you're going to be sitting in the pit lane for a long time. You've got a bunch of cars behind you. You maximise.
Yeah, agreed.
I would say this was overdone, right? It was
I
overdone.
think, Brock lost because of the engine. The other stuff that happened, it was a nail in the coffin.
You know how much fuel you've got on board. You know what your strategy is, and you are ticking away in your brain, working out what is happening while you're sitting there driving at that speed. You know what's happening. All these drivers are smart cookies. They know what's going on. So the frustration of it all is enormous. And I've spoken to Fabian about it, and he knows that he played a game. He played a team game. The sad part about this is the reaction that he's getting personally and the attacks he's getting personally. And that's really unacceptable.
Fabian absolutely got ruined by DJR Team Penske. They destroyed him and ended his career. Like, I don't know if it's happened like that in IndyCar or NASCAR or anything, but
large gap between cars 17, Scotty McLaughlin, and cars 12.
Fabian was regularly shafted in favour of Scott McLaughlin. Whereas like Triple Eight would never do that. They want both cars up there. They might make a minor little sacrifice because the lead car's leading, but you don't just like screw them over. Yeah, the engine wasn't an issue until later. Yeah.
Okay, so it may not have affected Jamie Whincup and Scotty McLaughlin's race, but they've certainly interfered with the race result, or potentially, haven't they? So
That's the alleged, and you know you have to make a mind for yourself there, but it does look like that there, you know, that there would have been a different situation if they had come in right behind those guys.
okay, now I think it's going to be revisited at the Gold Coast. So,
It is going to be.
what do you see in your experience here, everything you've gone through? What do you kind of expect to happen here as a result of this?
Yeah, I think depending on what the stewards determine they have done, based on the evidence they have, and then obviously the team will be able to show
Yeah.
the evidence and come up with an explanation and argue what the what they've been accused of, what the alleged incident is, and then they'll make a determining factor based on that evidence. Now, listen, it could go either way, and I think based
It's
on
difficult,
this,
because Woody was told to make Brock's life hard, basically.
and also fines. And I think that
Cheating has nothing to do with
they're all
what would have happened even if you didn't. The fact you did cheat anyway is a problem. Yeah, well, that's what penalties are for. You get a penalty because of what you did, whether you meant it or not. And that's the same thing with penalties, 5 and 15-second penalty.
Denied any of the races behind him, as well as the fans watching the opportunity of a grandstand finish.
Yep. And that's I think that's a fair comment, and it's not being aggressive, it's not being abusive and everything. So that's a fair comment.
Don't let them ruin your day, Fabs. You did an awesome job on race day, putting your heart and soul into it, as you always do. He always does, as we know. You did exactly what you were told to do. It's just not your fault. Chin up and keep racing hard. There's a lot of that. Here we go. This is kind of what you're referring to. Absolutely. 9 ounces of sportsmanship in your so-called team. I think we've got a couple more.
That one's straight for the throat.
Yourself, man. Don't be someone else's lackey.
Oh,
I won't say that. Getting thrown around about Fabs and Tony D'Alberto, but by people who have never actually been in a race car. This is where you come in. Slowing down and following in order to finish 6 is better than blowing up an expensive engine. The issue is here, though, Murph. Now, they've according to him, they made the call to finish 6th, but at the same
split in mindset. Woody was confident Brock wouldn't fire losing the championship. Brock was worried too much losing a position and thought when he shouldn't have. Yeah, that's right. But Woody pretty much did the same thing that he did to Will Brown, which is hassle him, make his life hard, and give Mosley the best chance. Bias to Brock, that's in my opinion, is 100% valid. Fair enough.
So, just tone it down when it comes to thinking you're going to throw rocks at the guy. Absolutely, mate. Thank you very much for joining us, and back to you guys.
I've seen that one. The enforcer and the dude was around apparently when that happened as well. I hate they try to compare it to Brock and Chaz last year in Adelaide. You mean in 2024? I could tell them on the opposite sides the same as me. When Ryan said that on the podcast, I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, it's difficult. Like, maybe we'll never get the full story. We've just got everyone's different perspectives. Bro won the championship already. What the hell is a little Adelaide win going to do for him? Yeah. Scott McLaughlin learned the hard way. If you want to win the championship, it's okay to come second. Like, he just let Reynolds go, held on second, got the job done. Whereas, I think Oh, I did this ages ago where I looked at what the points were, and I think it was sort of close, but I think did Brock still have an edge on him? 5. Did Brock still have the lead? Because I know it was sort of close. So yeah, Chaz is ahead there, and then Brock wins the race. So Chaz might have had a slight lead. So Brock needed to beat Chaz. But he also did have engine issues in the previous race as well. Yeah, Chaz was higher on points. Yeah. So yeah, Brock either needed to finish directly behind. I think Ryan Walkinshaw had that piece of card, right, that showed that Chaz only had to come 6th to win the championship. If Brock won or something like that. And now this year they're extending the points gaps because they don't like what happened last year, I guess. Like, if it ain't broke, don't touch it. Wait, what? Brock was leading? Okay, hang on. So let's run the numbers. Brock had to finish 2 spots behind Chaz to still win. Okay, so the Friday race, Chaz was 2nd and Brock was 4th. Where is it? So there's a 4-point gap for first. Hang on a second. It's 46 for Chaz, 39 for. Hang on. Oh, the finals, Chaz had more points. Yeah. We're just looking at Adelaide though, because I think heading into Adelaide, Brock still had the lead. Is that right? Because obviously Chaz won the first 3 races here, and they were equal. Hang on, maybe Brock had the lead. Hang on. Brock had the lead into Adelaide, yeah. Sort of weird there. Because they did have a gap, because the only reason that Brock still had the lead of the championship heading into Sandown was because of the bonus points that he got from being in the lead after Bathurst. Yeah, the bonus points. The bonus points are the stupidest part of the whole thing. Like, they don't need to give people a leg up. And I remember when David Reynolds was on the Drivers Only podcast, I think Matt Payne was saying, and then they're equal into the points. And then David Reynolds says, but they're not. After Ipswich, you mean? So I think they issued bonus points for every single round in the finals. So they all started with, what was it? They started with 5,000, and then they got bonus points based on what position they were going into the round. Yeah, very, very complicated. There, drivers' points reset to 5,000 with bonus points now awarded on a sliding scale of 50, 30, 15, and 0. So Kai Allen went in with 0. I think it's Brock had 50. Chaz was on a 30. I think it should stay as it is, but get 5 bonus points for each race win during the finals. I think they should stop poking with it. That's what I think. If they keep on mucking around with it, it's just going to make things more confusing. This year they extended these points, which I think might ruin things. Yeah, I thought it was stupid as well. Because the reason the racing was so close is because the points were close. I don't think they needed the bonus points. I think that was sort of like, I get that it's for, I get it for like Sprint Cup bonus points. Like, people have worked hard those 9 rounds or whatever number of rounds it was, 8 rounds. They deserve those bonus points for all the work they put in over those rounds. Then you got the Enduros, and it's fair to have some bonus points for those efforts as well, because those are some big rounds too. But for finals, it's supposed to be a really tough competition. So they should make it tough. They should make it like, okay, everybody's even, go your hardest, whoever wins, wins. But they didn't do that. They wanted to make sure that everybody felt catered for, I guess. But I don't know. There's probably a lot more going into it politically than we know. No, they would have designed it and gone and talked to every single team with all the commissions and councils and things, and all the teams and drivers had their say. And well, maybe I don't know about drivers, but definitely the commission and stuff like that would have had their say. But they said they asked a lot of people what they thought before, when they were designing the final system. So I guess a lot of people thought that it was important to have the bonus points, and we still got a close enough competition anyway. So I don't think it really mattered too much. But the thing that I think is interesting, just because that's shit. That's a shit can come 10th and just finesse your way to a championship. Piss me off so bad if I saw Kyle and have the exact same opportunity as Brock after Brock wins 14 races and Kai wins 0. Yeah, but Kai wasn't going to win the championship. Kai hasn't won a race yet. So, and you've got Chaz Mostert, Will Brown and Brock Feeney, who are all race winners. Kai was going to have to get a million times better to beat those guys when Chaz had been practicing for these rounds all year, working on setups that are designed to work well on Gold Coast, Sandown and Adelaide. Without bonus points, 2 points, so he has the same opportunity. So just the idea of Kai having the same opportunity as the other guys when he hasn't had the same success. He's just sort of lucked his way in. Damo says that's the price you pay for a more exciting champ. It's not traditional, but I like it more. Yeah, I like the traditional way, but I don't mind having the final system. But Nick says, I think you should get a leg up if you did a better job during the year. Yeah, I agree with that for going into the finals, but I don't think for each finals round that you need bonus points. I think it should just be I think they keep playing around with it because it was a dramatic end to last year's championship, and so people were saying, "Oh, do we need to change things?" Just makes the whole championship redundant to finals. Yeah, so it shouldn't be a points reset. Going into the Enduros. With the NASCAR chase thing. Isn't the NASCAR, the current NASCAR chase thing about, is very similar to what we've got in Supercars now? Or what we had last year? Because I think they got rid of the win and you're in thing, didn't they? So they made it so whoever's in the top 17 or whatever gets into the chase, and then based on how your point score is, you're getting chopped off until they get to the final, however many. Championship reset and 10 races go for break. Yeah. It shouldn't make the whole championship redundant. It should be which it doesn't, because it's only a certain number of people who are locked into the finals. Whoever scores the most points wins. Yeah, well, that's the traditional way, just in but it's like a mini championship in a championship. What I didn't like was that people like I think people like Thomas Randall could still end up in the top 10 of the championship, even though they were getting beaten by Andre Heimgartners and stuff like that. It doesn't look like anyone was really beating him, but Andre was definitely doing better later in the year. But that things changing at Bathurst meant certain people got knocked out and certain people got in. Wasn't it was it Feeney passed Heimgartner and knocked Heimgartner out, and then Allen got through. I love Randall, but he doesn't have enough to win. Yeah, we're not fans of Tommy Randall either. We like him; he's a great guy, but he is not a Cam Waters. He if he had the car to do it, he might throw it away, which he's had a couple of times at Tassie where he's had a fast car but thrown it away. Just battling too hard. What happened at Albert Park? Where is he? Down here. No, we didn't either use the old system or move to the updated where that mixed opportunity for anyone to win can happen. Yeah. I wanted to see Cooper Murray win Bathurst and get into the finals just to see that was a possibility. The viewership spoke volumes that it worked. Oh, yeah. Gotta say, I don't know a lot of people at my work that, or in any of my friends that paid attention. I know a lot of people who watch Bathurst, but not a lot of people that watch the finals. I would have watched it anyway. I'm a rusted on fan, so I'd be watching even if it wasn't a good race. I might be doing other things while the race is on, but people say they watch Bathurst only mean they watch the last stint. Yeah. Well, yeah. Some people, like, you'll always watch the shootout because top 10 shootout is the best part of Bathurst. And like Bathurst 2024, I was doing my washing the whole day and just running in and out the whole day. And then you sit down and you watch the last stint because something might happen. Start and finish. Yeah. That's what I used to do when I was a kid. I'd watch the start and then I'd go off and go and play. And then later on come and watch the end of the race. So I think a lot of people do that. As a rusted on fan, I like seeing what happens to each car because something will happen. Glued for the whole 8 hours. Yeah, I make a day of it. I get like a spread of food. Last year I had a platter of fruit, and I had some chicken. What do you call it? Chicken drumsticks going as well. So I just made a whole day of it, and just like, yeah, I'm going to be glued in front of the TV for the whole day. So nobody bother me. I'm unavailable. But especially if it's a good race, like last year's was a really good race. 2024 was, it just didn't feel like anything happened apart from Brody versus Brock. That was the race. I wanted to see, was it Randall's results? Rarely a good race. I think it's usually a good race. I think 2023 was pretty good. 22, that was the one where SVG won, and I think was Chaz really up there. I think most of the time it's a great race. Some races are better than others. 2023 was a snooze fest. I don't think so. 2022 was a snooze fest. Was 2022 the one where Waters and Moth came third? And Mozzie and Coulthard came second. 2023 wasn't a snooze fest. They're just chilling because the tyres were dying. Because 2023 was the one that had SVG, Brock and Zane Goddard's gear mount failing on the gear tower. If you did the rewatch, and SVG was saying he was chilling, that was boring. Parody Issues first year of Gen 3 was a snooze fest. Yeah, when I realised what was happening in 2023, that was that was when I was like, all right, we need this. We need to fix this. Because you'd watch a lot of the forwards qualify in the top 10 and then just drop heaps of spots. Cam Waters at Townsville, he put it on pole and then dropped to like 15th or something. And apparently there was nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with the car. It was just but also I think the Chevs got an aero adjustment as well, because apparently they were down on aero. So they got a little bits put on the front. Fords are blowing the tyres off them. Yeah, that's right. They can only do one lap, and then after that, those tyres were torched. But there are a few races like Perth. The tracks that I call the point and shoot tracks, where they're able to get podiums. Street tracks weren't so bad, I think. So, well, actually, Newcastle wasn't bad. So you had Mostert and Waters right up there. DGR just screwed up their Mustangs. Reynolds put it on pole, came third in the first race. So there were certain tracks that the aero on the Fords didn't seem to have a big effect. But then at a track like Townsville, yeah, it was blatantly obvious that the Fords were down. I think at about Tassie. Was Tassie another one that was really bad? I think the Grand Prix might have been really bad as well. So I don't remember them doing particularly well. The Chevs were fast at Albert Park when I was there. Yeah. Actually, I made a thing ages ago. Where is it? Is this thing? Where is it? Or is it maybe called Chev and Ford, or Chev versus Ford? Here we go. Alright. And that isn't... Oh, that's not... Hang on. It's not fully up to date. Stars aligned for Erebus that year. Yeah, well, their team wasn't committing suicide, so that was good. Like they weren't fighting one another until Will Brown got signed. SVG just didn't give a stuff, hated the cars, and Brock was too young. Yeah, Brock wasn't ready yet. He started to get good, and he got more podiums than SVG. But SVG was maybe more focused on the politics, I think, than the racing. So yeah, Ford wasn't shocking at Newcastle. He was busy being a worldwide superstar. Yeah, was that the year? Was that because he did NASCAR and he won at Chicago, and then he did a couple other races. But he was much more excited about doing NASCAR. Once he'd done that race at Chicago, he was like, "Yeah, I'm looking the other way now." It was 2023, but like, was he doing other races as well? Because he did in 2021, where he won the New Zealand Grand Prix. He won like a rally race, and he came in and dominated supercars. But I don't think he did the same thing in 2023. I think 2023 was supercars and NASCAR. Albert Park. Oh, percentage of top tens. That's what this is. So 37%. There's 30% of top tens at Newcastle. Erebus and the TIG welding. Surprise. Oh yeah. Yeah, well, that's they wanted their guy to design to weld their chassis. But didn't DJR have same sort of deal when they got the Erebus chassis last year for Brody, and the one that was supposed to be for Will had to be sent back and re-welded. So 30% possible top 10s at Newcastle, 37% at Albert Park, 56% at Perth. So that was a good round for them. But then 33% Tassie, 26% Darwin. That one was a shocker. 30% Townsville, 25% SMP, and then 60% at the Bend. For whatever reason, the Fords were good at the Bend. But I don't think I've written if there's any crashes. Rumours were they had hollow tubes, but it was TIG welds. DJR got one, and then Supercars made the ruling. Oh, yeah. Didn't a similar sort of thing happen with Toyota, or is that just allegations that Whincup said that that they've not quite done a right job with the chassis for the Toyota allegations, yeah. And then Supercars have supposedly said, no, it's fine. Whincup got it wrong? Okay. Because I know Supercars have come out and said that like, hope that he just be saying anything sometimes. It's the first of the Gen 3 cars. Yeah. One of the... I think isn't one of the Toyota chassis is not... It's an original Gen 3 chassis. It's not a... It's not a new one. Supercars chassis. I don't know if I've got like updated information on this thing yet. I really need to update some of my data and my PowerPoints. But sometimes in races, results because the teams have screwed up, not just parity. Is this gonna... My computer is so slow. I need to adjust it. Might be right, but the ruling changed before the Supras. Bootleg, what annoys me about the fact Whincup saying that is we all ignore the fact he said they're running untagged engines and we're letting it slide. Yeah, that's probably what it is. So not the chassis, but the engine thing. Oh no, apparently they've got new chassis. Or is that... because they're not converted. These are like brand new chassis. You got Triple Eight have obviously built new chassis. Tickford have got all the same ones. Ryan didn't defend that, but he was going so hard at Whincup saying that welding was wrong. Yeah, well, I mean that's how you fight the battle. Is people make allegations. Don't think they have a choice on that. Not enough engines to go around. Yeah, and it's not like they knew that they know that they're a bit down on engine capability. So it's they're letting it slide a bit because the engines aren't quite up to scratch. It's not like they're putting it on pole and winning every race and then not getting those things right. And not having and not putting the tags on and having everything checked and properly ticked off. They let Nissan and Merc drown. Oh yeah, that stuff was it's just the way that they were doing things back then as well. And I think there's probably a bit of politics as well that Ford and Holden were saying, oh no, we don't want them to get a leg up. But Erebus were already having a hard fight against Mercedes anyway. because Merc weren't willing to help, but AMG were helping a little bit. So they almost had to do the whole thing by themselves. Pissed me off. They gave them E75 and magically they're at the front. Oh yeah, the Jungle Juice. Yeah, bit of a fake race, that one, unfortunately. Sometimes you don't need to do stuff like that, but maybe it was just a test to be like, right, yeah, mid-weekend puts them back on the same fuel as the field. Yeah. But that engine wasn't quite up to scratch until 2018 anyway. And that's what they were saying. That, Todd Kelly was putting so much work in and all their engine efforts had finally paid off. If it does nothing, why did they change them back? No, hang on, that's you're confusing me. Because they put the Jungle Juice in at Winton 2013 and they got the 1-2 with Moff and Caruso. And then the next, was it in the middle of the weekend or was it? Scafe was yapping all weekend that fuel isn't performance enhancing. Yes, it is. It's combustive. Helps engine. Then the next day. All right. So. There. So it's the first race of the weekend. Yeah. And now midfield back at the 10. Yep. Caruso actually didn't finish. I think he got an incident, so 11th for Moff and 8th for Moff. So they're about where they normally were. I think Rick wasn't as far up. I don't know if something else happened. You gotta remember, this is Winton 2013. There was a lot of carnage going on that weekend. Wink Up was having a disaster, and I think Alberto got out as well, one of them or something. Right, Todd would have been nowhere because Todd was having a terrible time in the Nissans that year. But they were about where they actually, were occasionally getting some top 10s there at some of these races, but they're sort of from 10th to 15th regularly. That's about where they sat. I suppose Rick was probably the best positioned one most of the time. Bro was washed at that stage. Who was washed? Todd. I think we've had this discussion. I don't think Todd was that bad. I think that he made a lot of sacrifices for the team, and so maybe it would have been better off having another driver in instead of him. So, and in 2015 he was actually pretty good as well. I think he progressively got better in the championship. I'd have to have all the stats from him. He was busy taking everyone out. Yeah. I want to do like I don't know about a drinking game, but like something like I think Todd Kelly 2013 is definitely one of the ones where it's like every time something bad happens involving Todd, you take a shot. In the same way that James Courtney 2011, you take a shot whenever something happens to James Courtney, and you'll be pretty smashed, I think. By like 3 races in, something like that. There's a few like that. If they're coming like 20th, then that can't be right unless they just had no pace. If they didn't really have no pace, I think the Mercs were particularly bad early on. Yeah, you got Tim Slade way down the back. They had real engine issues like all the time. Holdsworth. So like Slade was like the lead driver pretty much at Erebus in 2013. Mercs were weird. Yeah, apparently they sounded a bit weird as well. What did they say? I think Holdsworth said something about the Grand Prix. that they had to give it a bit more throttle to keep the revs up. 2014 they became respectable. Yeah, in 2015 they were actually quite good as well. They actually they could have been top 10 of the championship if things had gone their way. But I think they kept having a few mechanical issues, and having Ash Walsh didn't help. And I think 2014 the tyres really sucked as well because Darwin's usually a great race, but I don't know what race it was, but they spent the entire race, no positions changed apart from if someone fell off the track or had to pit for failure or something. Frosty was right behind. I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was. Was it Frosty? Yes, maybe. He was behind someone. Tander. Frosty was behind Tander. And they kept on talking about, oh, he's getting closer. But every time he got close, he couldn't put a move on. And I reckon it was the tyres were crap. Because every other Darwin round, every year at Darwin, it's usually chaos. It's the most action-packed weekend of the year. And then you're watching a race where it's a disaster. Am I not showing thing anymore? That's annoying. I think I was showing stuff, wasn't I? Hang on. I thought I wasn't for a second. It just looked like it wasn't. Yeah, so I don't know how. I think sometimes certain tracks affect the tires, or maybe they were doing. I was showing. Yeah, I just the little. I've got a little icon. I don't know if you guys can see it, where it tells me that I'm showing my entire screen. That bit was gone, and I thought that I wasn't showing anymore. So yeah, that's a little. But yeah, 2014 Darwin. I don't know if it was just that race, but it's kind of turned me off watching 2014 races because I'm like, okay, if it's gonna be bad then at a race that's usually action packed, why would I bother watching any other race of the season? I get street tracks. Like street tracks are sort of the exception because the way they set the cars up, and the way the tracks work, especially like a track like Adelaide, there's usually plenty of passing. So even if there was some sort of tire issue or parity issue, whatever it was, Townsville 2014 was lit. Yeah, looks like it must have been because SVG had a shocker. I think SVG had a bad one in 2015 as well. I don't know what happened there, but it's just a disaster he's having. Oh, I've got data on SVG. HRT front row locker at race 1 and they choked. My How Good Was series where I have lots of data and only one video. One day I will eventually do that. Because I'm stuck on the Greg Murphy one, which I should just pull my finger out and get it done. Give it a second to implode. Alright. 2014 SVG. Not sure what's going on there. This is the stats that I've got from Race Reference. 2015. Started 25th, moved to 10th, started 3rd, dropped to 20. Yes. So I don't know why they've. Okay, let's find what I'm looking for. Why are they saying SVG was down there? Someone accidentally screwed it up. Doesn't look like it. Race Reference might be screwing it up. Everyone says Bathurst have a championship. A drivers that can't win a championship. I think it's weird. Like it's easier somehow to win a Bathurst than a championship because it takes all year to win a championship, and you could have one race that's like a shocker, and it costs you. Only driver I've seen is Brody. Brody says Bathurst, and Brody's won both. I think, and Frosty says championship because it was so hard for him to do it. But he can still win a championship. Yeah, well, that's it. Brody might win this year. We don't know. So I think Whincup said championship because it's a year-long slog. And I think Frosty is the same sort of deal. What happened to Scott Pye? There are more teams. Wait. Oh, yeah, the disqualification. Was this 2014? I don't know exactly what happened here. He just got disqualified from like 5 races there. Damo, there are more teams not capable of winning championships but have a chance at Bathurst. Yes, Perkins was always this way. Yeah, well, that's it. Perkins. Now, Russell Engel came second. Was it 3 years at Perkins? 98, 99, and 2001. But they couldn't quite win the championship because HRT were dominant. But they won Bathurst in the 90s, in 93, 95, 97. But yeah, I think that it's more likely for a team to win Bathurst than to win the championship because things could just magically go their way at Bathurst. Whereas in a championship, it's so easy. Like what you often see throughout the course of a championship is they'll start off being in the mix. And they'll have the occasional bad weekend, and then they'll get nowhere near as many points as the top teams. The second other teams could. Finally match HRT, they started falling off. Or financially match. Oh, okay. Yeah, HRT was just a disaster. But this is 2014, so if you're still talking about Scott Pye bootleg, then this is at DJR 2014 when they had no money. They were kind of competitive driving FPR cars, but they were nowhere. Damo, if you're looking back at championship winners, there's only a few teams for over 20 years. Yeah, exactly. It's damn near impossible for a team to win a championship, which is why it was so special that Erebus were able to get it done in 2023. The fact that anyone could do it at any time, or that anyone else could do it, that was just impressive. Which is why it's frustrating that Tickford aren't getting rid of Randall and putting somebody who is better somehow. Like we bag Randall, but he did win championships in open wheelers, but he came to supercars and I don't know if he needs to kick up the arse or what he needs to do, but he needs better results. Otherwise, it just looks like he's just making Waters look like he's got it easy. And Tickford's a team that should be capable of winning a championship. They've only got the one time, but he's had too long. He's done. Yeah. Well, tell that to his contract. Drives like an open wheeler, too timid when racing. Yeah, doesn't want to bang wheels. The fact he can't even win a race is what's embarrassing. Yeah, and he's had a couple of times where he should have won a race. What was the one in Adelaide? 2024. Where he was on the front row and he was leading the race and just didn't have the pace. Waters passed him, and then he's had 2 times at Tassie where he's put it on pole and just not been able to get the job done at all. He should be able to go to Tassie and get a good result. Well, not just a good result, but get a win because he puts it on the front row the last 2 years. Tickford need to shake up a few things. I thought moving Teddy out might help, but they're the same old Tickford. See a short race, i.e. Tassie. Ah. Gotta win those ones. How many races? I suppose we've got the current Teddy, as in Tim Edwards. Frosty could have 1 or 2 more championships if Tickford didn't screw up pits or strategy. Yeah, I think that's true. In 2008, Frosty was really close. Yeah, Tim Edwards. So, yeah, I think last year they introduced, but was it in 24? Was it 2 races? Yeah, 2 races at Tassie. So he put it on pole, became 18th, just had no pace. What years? No one was beating Whincup 2008, no way. I thought he was still mathematically in contention. Frosty was still mathematically contention in 2008. Like, it didn't end up. Like, it was still within 300 points. Mr. Whole Round still won by almost a round. Yeah, almost. So Frosty was in mathematical contention. That's my only point. All right, it wasn't like, I got this whatever happened here at Winton. 2 races at Winton where Frosty's had things go wrong. We got to run Whincup out at the end of the year. Oh yeah. Whincup was on fire at the end of the year, and then he had an engine failure, and then they just had no pace in that last round, in the last race. Yeah, to have a DNF in 23rd and still win the championship. Tickford screwed up 3 races and cost Frosty huge points. Yeah, I think didn't often see Frosty screw things up too much. He had it wrapped up. He didn't give an F. Yeah, I think Frosty. Whincup was Whincup had it pretty much locked and done heading in, and Frosty needed to win the whole round to win the championship pretty much. So it was a far shot. Frosty wins in 2008, race 2, the greatest driver of all time. Is that the one where it was like last to second there? Last to second is nuts. Yeah, well, but this is 2008. There was a lot of mid cars and mid teams. So, what was possible back then versus what's possible now is it's harder. But maybe we hear that a lot and it's not exactly true. HRT, Triple Eight, and DJR were cooking that weekend. At Winton. Yep. That's what, Tander there, third, first. He must have taken the round. Or Whincup. That looks very close. Does it say? Round winner for Winton. Tander won it. They all finished the same points. Yeah, because... Oh, yeah. And Will Davison. Yeah, equal on points. That's cool. I like when stuff like that happens. Because you got Whincup and Davo had the same results. Exact same results. That was the points right? And Tander won the last race, so he won the round by default. Yeah, well, it's 2/3. Oh, there's the point system. And a standard. So it's 100 points per round. You got 86 points for third. And then you got a second. Yeah, so it's pretty pretty much close. I've got to wrap things up, guys, because I've got a recording session after this for my collab gaming channel, same industry. So I got to wrap this up and then have a little rest and then get ready for like 8 hours of constant talking. So yeah, otherwise I'd stick around and we'll rattle on. But thanks for coming again, Bootleg, and thanks for joining us, Damo. Great to have you on board. I love you guys' show, and I want to see more. I want to see more long form from you guys. But yeah, thanks, guys, and hopefully catch you again next time.